the dry ingredients, which was the 3/4 cup of cocoa powder, 2 3/4 cup of flour, a teaspoon and a half of kosher salt, a half a teaspoon of baking powder, and a teaspoon of, that was a half a teaspoon of baking soda and a teaspoon of baking powder. We mix it all together, and as you see, it's coming together. It's starting to look like a box cake mix. Okay, and this is exactly what you get when you buy a box cake mix. And I'm mixing it well. Okay, once it's mixed well, we will start to prepare the wet ingredients, which will go into this to make the cake. And I'm just making sure that everything is totally mixed together. The flour, the cocoa, the baking soda, and the baking powder. And again, making sure that everything is a fine texture for the cake. So everything is not clumped, and it's all, and I'm whisking so that it is mixed thoroughly. Now I'm going to set that aside, and I'm going to start the wet ingredients. Now, I was supposed to do the eggs first. So you're starting with a cup of canola oil. And I did a mistake. I put the oil in first, and I had to go back and take that out. And then do the eggs first, and then add the oil in. So see, I am putting the eggs in the bowl, 3 eggs, and you add them each at one at a time, of course. I could have pre-cracked them, but I didn't. And generally they say, if you don't know if your eggs are fresh or not, to do this in a bowl one at a time, so that if they are not fresh, you don't mess the whole recipe up. So I have my whisk attachment on my mixer, and I'm going to start mixing the eggs. And you could see it's, just getting them so that it's mixed and whipped enough. And when it's whipped enough, we're going to start to add the oil in slowly. And that's the cup of canola oil. And you want to mix it little by little until it is emulsified. And I'm doing that, as you could see, adding a little bit, and beating. Again, mixing the egg mixture until you no longer see the oil. And then we will move on to the next wet ingredients. Once I finish putting all the oil in, and again, it's emulsifying and it's breaking down the proteins of the egg to make it smoother, so that when you mix it into the cake, it mixes in smoother. And let's see here. We're gonna check it out and make sure. Okay, and I'm gonna finish off the rest of the oil. And there goes the rest of the oil, and I'm mixing it, like I said, till I don't see any oil left in the bowl. The egg and the oil make an emulsification mixture. So again, it keeps the cake batter moist. We're then going to add in our next ingredient, which will be the milk. The sugar. And that is 2.5 cups of sugar. Now, I use golden sugar rather than the white processed sugar. I don't think it makes a big difference. If all you have is the white sugar, you can use that. I used the golden sugar. It didn't make a difference in the taste. It should, and I'm just mixing it to completion with getting all of it in the emulsification, all the sugar beat in there. And next we're going to add in the milk, which will be 1.5 cups of milk. And you can see that the sugar made the mixture thicker, and the milk will thin it out a little bit. And now we're adding in the milk little by little. And again, that was 2.5 cups of milk, and I used whole milk. I would think whole milk would be better because it'll make the cake moister than a low-fat milk. Unfortunately, being a cake and everything, it's not calorie conscious, but for once a year birthday cake, it's not bad. So again, a little by little I'm mixing it in, and the mixture becomes more solvent and more liquidy. Okay. The last thing that we're going to add in is the vanilla extract, and that calls for a tablespoon of vanilla extract. And we're going to put the vanilla extract in. And again, I know this is a chocolate cake, but the vanilla is a balance for the taste. It counterbalances the chocolate in flavor when you do it. So once the vanilla and everything is mixed in, we will then proceed to mix the flour mixture in. Now I'm just cleaning up a little bit, putting some of the dishes out of my way, getting ready to put the flour mixture in. And again, we're going to do a little bit at a time, as not to, bombard the bowl, and give it a chance to mix in. And you could see that it is mixing in. Doing a little bit more. I put the rest of it in, and as you could see, some of the flour was still on the bottom of the bowl, so I should have did a spatula at the bottom as to keep the mixture all mixed, but that's okay because it wasn't that much. It'll mix in as I'm going here. And as you could see, I'm lifting the whisk up and down as I'm mixing, as to get and pull underneath up. Okay. And you could see that it's starting to fully mix in the bowl as it's going. Once I get to this stage, I'm going to get a spatula, and I am going to run the sides of the bowl to make sure that I'm getting every area, and go down and basically just go around it to make sure everything on the bottom is mixed. Okay, and once I get to a stage where I think it is halfway there, or almost all the way there, I am going to shut the mixer off, and then I am going to use the spatula once I stop mixing. So again, I'm running this whisk around the edge. Now I'm going to take the spatula and run it and turn the bottom up to make sure that there is nothing that I missed at the bottom that's unmixed, which I don't see anything that it is. Okay, and I'm going to scrape down the spatula, okay, and the sides again to make sure. And then we are going to take our springform pan, and I believe it's a large. I'm not even sure the measurements. Might be a 9-inch springform or 10-inch springform. And I've sprayed it, sprayed the pan. And what I did was I put it on a cookie sheet when I was about ready to pour it. So you will see, I'm just preparing the area there. Moving my stuff to the sink that is no longer used. And I'm going to bring this springform pan here, and it's sprayed. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to pour the mixture in slowly, and I'm going to scoop everything in there, making sure that I get all of it out. Don't waste anything. And scoop every last little bit out that you can. Waste not, want not. Okay. And here we go. And I'm going to scrape off the spatula, and then that's going to go in the sink. Now the last little bit is to make sure that you tap the springform to get all the bubbles out of the cake. Okay. And we're going to put it in for to a preheated 325 oven, and you're going to watch how it cooks. It should take at least 35 to 45 minutes depending on the oven. As you could see, it's cooking and there's bubbles coming at the top. Check it. I set the timer for 15-minute intervals to turn it. It's my preference. I like to turn it. And there it is. It's almost done there after almost 45 minutes. So I have the icing video coming up. And that's what the pick looked like at that point when I put it in to test it. It wasn't done in the middle. So that's